Yes.
Are you in charge?
I guess I'm in, well, I'm the highest ranking member right here now. So I guess,
And the lowest, by
yeah,
the way.
that's right. Mhm. Well, good. Now Judy's here. Now
Yeah,
she
I'm
can be
back.
in charge.
Yes,
Yep.
I had to go get my coffee.
Yes.
I brought my coffee up there too. Now she can be in charge. We won't discuss who's highest and lowest on that.
There you go. Okay, that sounds good. Sure. All right. Play the music. No, I got one. There, okay. I just don't have it here with me. So. I tried to get organized, but it's really hard. I know. It's because they're cut from the same cloth. Totally. That's like scary.
I go, someday I'm gonna grow up to be just like you. And I don't know whether I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, or not.
Just kidding. You and Doc Citrian said someday.
Yeah.
She just called me like past my health, and she's like, oh. I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be me someday.
Yeah, one's on. Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's nice to see all of you here today. We welcome you here to celebrate UMW Sunday. Though I am not a pastor, but my name is Kathy Torgerson, and I will lead you in the call to worship. So please stand as you are able and follow on the screen and join with me. We've come to worship God,
Who loved us before we were yet born,
who knows us better than we know ourselves,
whose presence never leaves us.
and whose love for us never ceases.
This is our God.
Please remain standing and join in the hymn, Great is Thy Faithfulness. The words are on the screen. There is no
Good morning, my name is Delana Orlight, and we are going to say the unison prayer together. Holy One, may your presence know in this room. Move the love of you between each one of us, pausing in the heart of each of us. Remind us that all of us here and beyond are your beloved, created in your image. We are your people, holy your presence within us. Help us to connect with you and with one another during this time of worship. Amen. And now we will have the Chancellor Choir for special music. There is a happy land far, far away,
where saints in glory stand, bright, bright as day.
oh, be sweetly sing, worthy is our Savior King. Oh, let his praises be forevermore.
Come to this happy land, come away.
Why will you doubt its time? Why still delay? Oh, we shall happy be when from sinners sorrow free. Oh, we shall happy be blessed evermore.
I am bound for Oh, who will come and go with me? Why did that happy life need every hour? Kept by the Father's hand, love and the door. Oh, when to glory come, where and how the kingdom walk, and rise upon the sun, made heaven known. Oh, when to glory run, where and how the kingdom walk, and rise upon the sun, made heaven known. I'm thankful to have been there.
I think we're ready for kids time with Aaron.
Okay. Do you have the cordless mic? No, maybe. Thank you. Yes. Oh, it's on. Good morning. I'm Erin Woods, the Children's Ministry Coordinator, and I am here this morning to do investigating. I need everyone's fingerprints, please. Okay. Mine says okay. No. Oh, open or can you hold that for me? What is it for? A children's message, Callie. Nothing important or nothing sinister. Okay, so here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna take your pointer finger and you're gonna go like this, and then you're gonna put it on the paper like this. Good? It'll come off next time you wash your hands, no biggie. All right? Nina, put it right next. Okay, right down there's good. They do have small fingers. Okay. Excellent. Oh. Okay. Excellent. Oh, here, let me try that again. There we go. I'm coming. Okay. Okay. Ooh. Have you done this before, Callie? Yeah. Taking fingerprints is super fun. If you've never done it before, you should totally get either like scribble on a piece of paper with some pencil or get some ink. But what I want you to do is come huddle over here and look at these fingerprints. I do have a big fingerprint. And to be a proper look at fingerprints, I have these little magnifying glasses. I don't have that here. Okay. So I want you to look at your fingerprint. Okay. Yes, okay. So take a look at these fingerprints real quick. Maybe look at your fingerprint. Can you look at your finger? You forgot which one was yours. Okay, now I'm gonna show. Do you notice anything about these fingerprints? They have marks. They have swirling patterns. Okay, I'm gonna take this and you just look at your finger. Look at your finger. Now borrow your neighbor's finger. Do you see anything different? Yours is darker, that's because it has ink on it. They're all different, you're right. They're all, thank you. They're all different, aren't they? You're exactly right. You can keep that magnifying glass because I want you to remember something. Your fingerprint is different than everybody else's fingerprint in the whole wide world. God made you so super special, spent so much super time on you that your fingerprint is totally different than everybody else's in the world. And you're very different. You can ask me something. We do not have the same fingerprint. Because you're my son, we might share some of our DNA and stuff like that, but fingerprints, no, everybody is totally different. So God made you super special. And not only did God give you a special fingerprint, but God gave you special gifts and gave you special things that you're able to do for others. So I just want you to always remember that. And Miss Judy is going to read us a story today for this sermon. And so I want you to listen to her story and hear her story about how we're all special too, okay? Sound good? Yeah. All right, let's put our hands together and say a quick prayer. Dear God, thank you so much for making us so super special, from our fingerprints to our hearts to all the gifts that you give us. Help us to remember how special we are and to use that as we go out to the world and share your love. In the name we pray. Amen. All right, you may go back to your spots.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Judy Lesgo, and I am here to welcome you to UMW Sunday. This is an organization of women that has lasted over 150 years in America. There are over 80,000 United Methodist women who participate in missions through their church all over the United States and all over the world. So I just wanted to welcome you this morning, and would you, we're going to have a prayer time and then a song, and then this is the call to prayer. I don't do this all the time, so you'll just have to bear with me. So we're going to have a little song. Winnowa's going to play for us, and then we're going to have a prayer in the Lord's Prayer, and then we'll get on. By the way, before we go on, this is a program book that the UMW puts together, and it has a little inside. It has our mission, and it has a wonderful calendar of events. So they're on a table out there in the narthex. If you want to pick one up, then you'll know what's going to come on every month. You'll know what happens, especially if you don't take it home and throw it in your drawer and forget you have it. So take it out, check it out, and come to the meetings and help support us. Would you pray with me? Heavenly Father, we come before you today with hearts filled with gratitude for all the blessings you have given us. We are grateful for our families and friends, for our church and our community. We are grateful for our country and the beautiful Black Hills. But mostly, we are grateful because you love us like we are. Please help us to see your work in everything that happens, the good and the bad. Help us to understand that your love is unconditional, given to us just because you created us and you love us in ways that are hard to comprehend. Help us to deal with those around us with your kind of love and patience, and to look to you for guidance as we walk through this life. Help us to pray as you taught your disciples to pray, saying, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Okay, can you hear me? Yes. I tend to be a hand talker, so if I'm waving the microphone around, you may not be able to hear me, so just raise your hand if you can, and I'll try to hold still. We're going to start with scripture. There's David wrote a psalm. It's 139, 14 through 16. And it says, Thank you for making me so wonderfully complex. Your workmanship is marvelous. How well I know it. You watched me as I was being formed in utter seclusion, as I was woven together in the dark of the womb. You saw me before I was born. Every day of my life was recorded in your book. Every moment was laid out before a single day had passed. That kind of thought just boggles my mind sometimes. All right, and then Paul wrote to the Thessalonians in chapter 1, verses 4 through 6. For we know, brothers and sisters, loved by God, that he has chosen you. He chose us. Totally amazing. I don't know why we want you to do that, but he did. All right, so I have a book to read. to you. It's written by Max Lucado. And it's part of a series of books, actually. It's called You Are Special. And I kind of have a little library with Max Lucado books because I like to read it to my grandkids for one thing. And they're good for me. They're good for me too. So this is about the Winnocks. The Winnocks were small wooden people, and all of the wooden people were carved by a woodworker named Eli, and his workshop sat on a hill overlooking their village. Each Winnock was different. Some had big noses, and others had large eyes, and some were tall, and others were short, and some wore hats, and others wore coats, but all of them were made by the same carver and all lived in the village. And all day, every day, the Winnocks did the same thing. They gave each other stickers. Each Winnock had a box of golden star stickers and a box of gray dot stickers. Up and down the streets and all over the city, people spent their days sticking stars or dots on one another. The pretty ones, those with the smooth wood and the fine paint, they always got stars. But if the wood was rough and the paint was chipped, the Winnocks gave them dots. Now the talented ones got stars too. Some could lift big sticks high above their heads or jump over the tall boxes, and still others knew big words or could sing pretty songs, and everyone gave them stars. Some Winnocks had stars all over them. Every time they got a star, it made them feel so good. It made them want to do something else to get another star. Others, though, could do very little, and they got the dots. Punchinello was one of these. He tried to jump like the others, but he always fell down, and when he fell down, the others would gather around and give him dots. Sometimes when he fell, his wood got scratched, so the people would give him more dots. And then when he would try to explain why he fell, he would say something silly, and the Winnocks would give him more dots. And after a while, he had so many dots that he didn't even want to go outside. He was afraid that he would do something dumb, such as forget his hat or step in the water, and then the people would give him another dot. In fact, he had so many gray dots that some people would come up and give him one for no reason at all. He deserved lots of dots. The wooden people would agree with one another. He is not a good wooden person. After a while, Punchinello believed them. I'm not a good Winnock, he would say. The few times he went outside, he hung around other Winnocks who have lots of dots, and he felt better around them. One day, though, he met a Winnock who was unlike anyone he had ever met. She had no dots, and she had no stars. She was just wooden. Her name was Lucia. It wasn't that people didn't try to give her stickers, it was just that the stickers didn't stick. Some of the Winnocks admired Lucia for having no dots, so they would run up and give her a star, but it would just fall off. Others would look down on her for having no stars until they would give her a dot, but it didn't stay there either. That's the way I want to be, thought Punchinello. I don't want anyone's marks. So he asked the stickerless Winnock how she did it. Oh, it's easy, Lucia replied. Every day I go see Eli. Eli? Oh, yes, Eli, the wood carver. I sit in the workshop with him. Why? Why don't you find out for yourself? Go up the hill, he's up there. And with that, the Winnock who had no stickers turned and skipped away. But will he want to see me? Punchinello cried out. Lucia didn't even hear. So Punchinello went home. He sat near a window and he watched the wooden people as they scurried around giving each other stars and dots. It's not right, he muttered to himself, and he decided he would go see Eli. So he walked up the narrow path to the top of the hill and he stepped into the big shop. His wooden eyes widened at the size of everything. The stool was as tall as he was. He had to stretch up on his tiptoes to see the top of the workbench. A hammer as long as his arm. Punchinello swallowed hard. I'm not staying here. And he turned to leave. And then he heard his name. Punchinello. The voice was deep and strong. Punchinello stopped. Punchinello, how good to see you. Come in. Let me have a look at you. Punchinello turned slowly and looked at the large bearded craftsman. You know my name? The little woman asked. Well, of course I do. I made you. Eli stooped down and picked him up and set him on the bench. The maker spoke thoughtfully as he looked at the gray dots. Looks like you've been given some bad marks. I didn't mean to, Eli. I really tried hard. Oh, you don't have to defend yourself to me, child. I don't care what the other women think. You don't? No, and you shouldn't either. Who are they to give stars or dots? They're women, just like you. What they think doesn't matter, Punchinello. All that matters is what I think. And I think you're pretty special. Punchinello laughed. Me, special? Why? I can't walk fast, I can't jump. My paint is peeling. Why do I matter to you? Eli looked at Punchinello and put his hands on those small wooden shoulders. And he spoke very slowly. Because you're mine. That's why you matter to me. Punchinello had never had anyone look at him like this, much less his maker. He didn't know what to say. Every day, I've been hoping that you'd come, Eli explained. Well, I came because I met somebody who had no arms, said Punchinello. I know, she told me about you. Why don't the stickers stay on her? The maker spoke softly. Because she has decided that what I think is more important than what they think. So the stickers don't stick unless you let them. What? Well, the stickers only stick if they matter to you. The more you trust my love, the less you care about their stickers. Oh, I'm not sure I understand. Eli smiled. You will, but it'll take time. You've got a lot of marks. From now on, you just come see me every day and let me remind you about how much I care. Eli lifted Punchinello off the bench and set him on the ground. Remember, Eli said as the women walked out the door, you are special because I made you, and I don't make mistakes. Punchinello didn't stop, but in his heart he thought, I think he really means it. And when he did, a dot fell to the ground. That's a cool story. I wish I could claim that I wrote it, but I didn't. But we're like the Winnies. We are. I could have been Punchinello. And when I was about 6, 7, 8 years old, I had decided that I would never, ever be able to get to heaven. Because I had told my mother a lie, and that made me a sinner, and so I was doomed. I could never be justified ever, because once you sin, I mean, you're a sinner. So, and I remember really worrying about it. You know, we lived out by Thunder Butte. I don't know if you know where that is. It's kind of out in the boondocks. But Thunder Butte Creek runs out there, and you can see Thunder Butte if you're on Highway 20 going east and west, between Faith and Isabel. And then you can see it on Highway 60, I think it's 65. That goes from Newbury to Isabel. You can see it off to the left there. So it's a big high butte out there, and Thunder Butte Creek runs, and we lived right by Thunder Butte Creek. And I told my mother about what I had figured out, that there was no way I would ever get to heaven because God wouldn't want me there because I told a lie. And I think maybe that's what prompted her to do this on this day. She was always using nature and things to teach us stuff. And this one day we went, we were picking plums down along the creek. There was a big plum thicket down there. And in order to get it, we had to cross the creek and walk down the other side. And she had buckets for all of us, and we all picked plums and filled our buckets up. And then we were coming back from the thicket, and there was these enormous cottonwood trees there. I don't know if you go to the park down here, to Sioux Park, you'll see some of those kinds of cottonwood trees. They're just massive. And in the summertime, they have the leaves that hang down, and the wind rustles them, and they clatter and clank. They're kind of noisy. They're also horribly messy, but because they drop their leaves everywhere. So we were walking there, and Mother stopped, and She looked up at the top of the trees because a breeze had come through and rustled the leaves, and she said, girls, look around and see if you can find 2 leaves from this tree that are just exactly alike. So, you know, we're always up for a challenge. So we're looking around, and we'd find a couple and we'd bring them to Mother, and she'd say, no, that vein goes this way and this vein goes the other way. There was always something about them that wasn't right, wasn't the same. And finally we gave up and we said, well, there isn't any that are the same. We can't find any that are the same. And she says, that's because God made this tree. Every leaf on it is different from every other leaf. And God made you, and you're different from every other person alive. And he did that on purpose. He made you like this because that's how he wants you to be. And I'm going, really? That's kind of a big thought for an 8-year-old, but I didn't think about it a whole lot. You know, she was always doing stuff like that. So I thank my mother endlessly for her lessons with stuff like that. Because she used what she had to teach us, which is what parents do. Well, years later, of course, you get married, you have children, and then suddenly things like that come back to you because you're dealing with some of the same issues that you dealt with as a kid. And so those words have kind of kept me centered. This is another thing she always did. I was kind of a worrier. You might notice that. But anyway, I was when I was a little kid. And I would come and tell her all my troubles. And she would say, well, after the 3rd time of listening to all my troubles, she would say, go down to the creek and talk to the trees. And so she would send me out. And she had told us that God made the trees. So I'm talking to God as I'm down there saying all my troubles out loud, which really made them much smaller once I said them out loud. Anyway, she set me on the course of seeking who God is. That's where it started, I'm pretty sure. But as you get out into life and you run into things and Mother isn't right beside you to guide you, I started looking to the Lord and I said, I need to figure out who you are. So it sent me into Bible studies. And I've been doing that for probably, a little over 40 years. I've been in Bible study almost continuously. Because I learn things every day about who my maker is. So I'm not Punchinello anymore. I'm more like Lucia. The dots don't stick to me. The world is always telling me I'm wrong, I'm too fat, I'm too old, I'm too silly, I'm whatever, but I'm not good enough. Never will measure up. That's what the world wants me to think. But see, God wants me to think something else. He wants me to think, I made you. I don't make mistakes. I don't make junk. You're perfect. You're exactly how I want you to be. And we have to recognize that God is right all the time. Not just once in a while, but all the time. If we're acceptable to God, how can we be not acceptable to each other? I don't understand how that works. If I'm good enough for God, then I surely am good enough for you. If you're good enough for God, then you're good enough for me. We don't have to go further than that. So we are in the world if we love the Lord, but we are not of it. We can live here without being of it, as long as our eyes are not fixed on worldly things. They're fixed higher than that. We have to climb hill. We have to look at the Maker. We have to touch base with him every day. Because he'll tell you, you're good enough. I made you. I want you this way. And we can trust him. We can trust our Maker to keep his promises. He promised to be with us till the end of the age. That's what he told his disciples in Matthew 28. And I am his, and you are his, and he doesn't make junk or mistakes. So we are the way we are because we're supposed to be like that. We're acceptable in his sight. You and I can trust him for all the rest of it. And in 1 John, chapter 4, 7 through 12, this is what John wrote to one of the churches that were infighting and having problems. He said, "Dear friends, let us love one another, for love comes from God. Everyone who loves has been born of God and knows God. Whoever does not love does not know God, because God is love. And this is how God showed his love among us. He sent his one and only Son into the world that we might live through him. This is love. Not that we love God, but that he loved us." See, he loved us first. I'm going to ask him why. But he loved us, and he sent his Son as an atoning sacrifice for our sins. Dear friends, since God so loved us, we also ought to love one another. No one has ever seen God, but if we love one another, God lives in us, and his love is made complete in us. So let's go out from here and live so that others will know who God is because of what we do and say every day, not just Sunday. Amen.
Jesus loves me, yes, I know. My hope tells me so. With all wants to be belong, they are reaped, but he is sown. Yes, Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. My hope tells me so. Jesus loves me, yes, I know. Yes, he loves so long. Taking children on his knee, saying that loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. I hope tells me so.
Okay, we do offering just a little different than we used to do. There is a basket out there on the left on either door where you can place your gifts and offering if you feel called to do that. And we appreciate all the gifts because that lets us continue our work as a church in our community and the world. So we have a couple of announcements here, and then we're going to have some gals come up and present some pins, special mission pins for our United Methodist Women and other people that help us throughout the year as we do our work. We support a lot of charities in town. Mommy's Closet is one, and Love Inc. is another one, and Wealthfully is another one, and Passages is another one. All of these very important efforts are to help women and children in our community. And so that's our focus. So, and I was given a list of announcements here. Food for February is taking the place of food baskets at Christmas this year. We will send around buckets next week. So bring your dollars. And then there's a Lenten book study, Good Enough, which is $10. So you can reserve your copy by contacting Pastor Brett. And the office will be closed on Monday for President's Day. And please fill out a contact card. You know, we used to have the books in the pews, but now we have contact cards, and this is how we keep track of who's here and who's not. And we don't send out gray dots for anybody who's not. So you're safe in that regard. Okay, so let's present our pins. Let's see, I think it's gonna be, who's it gonna be? Donna and Jan, thanks. I have too many papers, just wait a minute.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Donna Scheller, and it is my privilege today to present to two very worthy candidates a special mission recognition pin. The pin is our way to honor someone who has made a significant difference to the missions of the United Methodist Women, to our church, to our community, and beyond. The first woman I would like to recognize has been and continues to be an early elementary Sunday school teacher for more than 30 years. In addition to that, she has also been a Bible school teacher every summer for more than 30 years. She was here shepherding your little ones through thunderstorms or in 100-degree weather. She would not miss it. Each spring, United Methodist Women honor our senior high school graduates with a blanket in their school colors. It is a small gift from our church family to take with the graduate as they leave home and go off to college or take a new job. She has always volunteered to distribute these blankets to the kids because she's been a part of their faith journey from day one. Friends, just stop to think how many impressionable young people she has helped to start on their faith journeys. Canyon Lake families have been blessed to have her as an example of continued love and support to our children. In addition to her work with the children of the Canyon Lake, she has been an active member of UMW. Marilyn Sains, would you please come forward? Marilyn, I present to you this pin in recognition of our appreciation for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Judy Lehner is another recipient of the special mission recognition that I'd like to honor today. Judy, would you come forward? I know she's here. How fortunate we are here at Canyon Lake to have this talented artist among us. Many of you know of Judy's watercolor series known as With Liberty and Justice for All, which is on permanent display in the Surrey Center on the School of Mines campus. But how did it end up there, you ask? This collection of now 20 watercolor paintings have been a part of a traveling art show to places not only in South Dakota, but in surrounding states as well. While on display at the Doll, one of the paintings was sold. Dr. Ruben Barrice saw the collection at the Doll and told Judy that the paintings as a collection told a valuable social justice story and should not be broken up. So with his purchase of many of the paintings and Judy's donation of the rest, they ended up preserved as a series which is on permanent display. Also, I want to point out to you her recent painting, which is displayed in our foyer. So please, as you leave today, take note of the new painting that we have on display of Jesus. It is amazing. However, her artistic talent is not the only reason we are recognizing Judy. Judy has been our prayer chain leader for many, many years. So you know that when you submit a prayer request to Judy, it will be sent on to the rest of the team, and there will be many, many prayers going up on your behalf. So today, I want to recognize Judy for all of her work
in our church.
Would you please rise for the blessing? May the God who formed you bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord surround you with his grace and give you his peace. Amen.
Amen.
We'll sing this last song, or last verse.
Jesus walking still today, walking with me on my way, wanting as a friend to give, I am love to honor you. Yes, Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. The Bible tells me so.